So I just got back from watching Barbie. Was it any good? Well, here's my review on it. Let's start off with everything I liked about the movie. And for starters, the comedy in here is a big win. Every joke lands. Like, my entire audience was laughing out loud. There were even some people that were just laughing every second. But the comedy in here is absolutely hilarious. Is it for kids? I'll get on that in a second, but the comedy in here is amazing. Like, every joke is really good. And then also the movie references as well. As you know, in the trailers, we got 2001, The Space Odyssey, The Matrix. We get 2 more. And they're at the end too, but I only caught 2 more after that. And one of them was also one of my favorite movies of all time that they referenced, so. But yeah, there's not a lot of movie references in here, but what the trailer promised us for that, you're gonna get it. So basically, what the trailer promised us for the comedy and the movie references, the stuff that won most of us over, it's as good as it is in the movie, as it is in the trailer. Now the plot in here. At first, like, what the trailer shows us, it's kind of like an elf in the well kind of story. I'm taking Barbie and comparing it to 2 Christmas movies, but both of those movies are like Noel, you're trying to get to someone. Elf is like a fish out of water story. When Barbie's in the real world, it's that story happening. And we've seen that kind of story before, but the way this movie executes it, it does it in a really smart way that makes it seem like we haven't seen this movie before. And it did it in a really smart way. Now, let's talk about the actors. No surprise, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, they all did good. Margot Robbie as Barbie, she's perfect as the role. Like, there's even a part where it breaks the 4th wall with the narrator talking about Margot Robbie. But yeah, she fits perfectly. Like, she was meant to be as Barbie. And then, same goes for Ryan Gosling. He's just Kenning it out over here and doing his Ken energy and every Kenning thing. And as Ken he wants to be, he does that Ken energy so well. And Ryan Gosling fits as Ken so well. He even breaks into song a couple of times, which is funny. I'm Just Ken is the song, and that song's going to be stuck in my head for a while. It's like, wow, that song is really good. When it comes to the main story of the movie, that doesn't really show in the trailer, so I won't talk about it. We also seen that story before. And this movie also executes it in a way that makes it seem like you haven't seen it before. This is also really smart. And then the themes in the story, the lessons learned in here, are really smart. Like, it will work really well for a kid who's just going out of the age of playing Barbie and, like, starting to grow out of them. This message will work really well for them, but it will also work well for women of all ages and some men as well. This is like a really good message to be teaching, but I'll talk more about that in what I didn't like. But when the world had a shortage of pink paint because of this movie, yeah, there's a lot of pink in this movie, as you can tell by the trailer. All the set pieces look amazing in Barbie Land. Every house and everything is just amazing to look at. And I really like the way that it was like crafted together. I just like the way it was built, and it's just, I kind of want to see that house in person just because of how it looks. Now, before I continue, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and follow my letterboxd called The Coda Man Movie. And before I go on to what I didn't like section, so I want to like talk about some stuff first that like don't really go into a category. So, like I said, the theme in here is like a good theme. Like I said that. But at the same time, the theme only works if you're a woman and girls. The men, maybe it will like change them a little bit, but this thing like only is aimed for women. Like, and if you were expecting kind of like a man kind of thing going into the Barbie movie, you're going to be disappointed, because that's not really the lesson they're trying to teach. It's more towards women. But the stuff that won me over, at least, was the movie references in the trailer and the comedy. And I got that, but the lesson is for women, and I'm pointing that out right now. If you're a man, the lesson might not be for you. The main idea of the story may not be for you. And then I also said I'll talk about this. Is this movie for kids? Well, what do you define as a kid? Like ages 0 to 7? No. They should not watch this movie at all. Girl and boy? No. They should not watch this movie. It is not for them. The jokes in here? No. Like, I don't want to spoil any jokes for you guys, because I want it to be funny for you. It was extremely funny for me, but no. 0 to 7, should not watch this movie. And then we have 8 to 10. And they're your kids. You decide then. You would have to watch the movie first and decide then. And then ages 11 and older, I say they're allowed to watch this movies. But if they're like a really immature 11-year-old, then no. They should not watch this. But if they understand a lot of things as well, some jokes will probably fly over their head. But I say a 11-year-old can watch this movie. And I can also say that if your kid watches The Simpsons and they understand most of the jokes in there, I say they're also allowed to watch this, because it's kind of that comedy as well. If you're a kid, you decide, maybe watch it first. But yeah, that being said, I'm going to move on to what I didn't like about Barbie. So what I didn't like is that around the middle half, so basically when they're in the real world and when they're about to get out of the real world, like halfway through the real world area, and before they get out, it's kind of slow there. Like that good 10 to 15 minutes is quite slow. I didn't find like a comedy beat in there to like boost that up again, because what I came here for was the comedy. And I just found out, I feel those parts went kind of slow. They weren't really like fast paced, and it just went by slow. And then another thing that I didn't like, they were pushing the theme of the movie too much. They like kept stating it like every 10 minutes of the film once the story kind of kicked in. And sometimes I didn't mind it, but then other times I was all like, okay, you're kind of pushing this a little bit too far out there. I mean, like at the end, yes, it fits. Sometimes in the middle, yes, it fits. But then the rest of the time, it was like, okay, you're pushing this too much. I get the theme of the story. You don't have to keep pushing it out there. You don't have to keep pushing it out there. I get I get the theme of the story. You don't have to keep pushing it. But all in all, Barbie is a really good, funny movie, not for kids. And there's a bunch of movie references in here. Basically, if you were sold by the trailer, the movie will do the exact same thing. You will really enjoy it. Just the comedy and movie references. The story is good. It's kind of like an Elf kind of movie. All the actors do amazing. Yes, the pacing can go a little slow. And they could keep pushing the theme out a little bit too far. That men will be taken out of the story a little bit because the theme's not really meant for them. But you will still probably really enjoy this movie like I did. Wow, did I really enjoy this movie? But out of 10, I will give it an 8.5 out of 10. I highly recommend watching this movie. But just keep in mind, don't bring your kids to it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. See you guys all next time. Goodbye.